This podcast is a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to find out more. 50 years after the final Harry Potter book, Harry Potter is now headmaster of Hogwarts, ready to usher in a brand new generation of witches and wizards. My name's Radio Mike, and I love Harry Potter. In fact, I love Harry Potter so much that when I was a kid, I wrote a series of 7 Harry Potter fan fiction novels. This is book 2 in that series. Welcome to Harry Potter and the Team Wizard Tournament. Hello, Hamoras, everyone. Welcome to a bonus edition of Harry Potter and the Boys. It's not an Owl Post. It's just a general bonus episode. If you listen to this week's Owl Post episode, though, I did tease that I would be doing this week. Essentially, there's basically been an interesting sort of news story on around Harry Potter, and usually on the Owl Post eps, what I like to do, if you listen to those, is I read out all the owls from you guys, and then I do meme of the week, and then I do any kind of remotely relevant news story related to Harry Potter from that week. Like the last one I did, Daniel Radcliffe was selling his home in Melbourne, but this also kind of felt one, there were lots of hours last week, so it took a while to do it. And I like these sitting around 20 minutes or so. But two, this kind of felt like something that I wanted to respond to live because it seems really interesting for the Harry Potter fandom. And it seems like there's a lot of kind of content to go through. So I don't know how long this is going to go for, but essentially, as you know from the title, and also send in your owls. And if you have any thoughts on this, send in owls for this as well. Like any general thoughts around Harry Potter, send in your owls. RadioMikePod@gmail.com, at It's Radio Mike on Twitter. Tweet about the show, please. Radio.Mike on Instagram. And if you can, star rating. If you're listening on Spotify, just open your phone right now, go to the homepage for this pod, give it a 5-star rating. And that would help a lot. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give it a 5-star rating there, leave a written review. All that really helps. Follow the podcast socials, HPATB Pod on Instagram and TikTok. Little clips from the show going up there. So would really appreciate you guys doing that. But here's what happened, and I'm really excited about this. Here's the headline again. After his death in 2016, Alan Rickman left a trove of revealing journals. In this exclusive extract, he recounts his 10 years playing Professor Snape and the many political and Hollywood dramas along the way. Very, very interesting stuff from Alan Rickman, who was such an accomplished actor and such a fantastic job playing Snape. And in my opinion, the best character representation in the movie franchise, even though so many of them are fantastic. Snape's story in the series is just so fascinating as well. But I'll read a little bit of this. From 1972, Alan Rickman kept a pocket diary in which he noted appointments, anniversaries, opening nights, and addresses. In 1992, he started to produce a much fuller account of his life and work and bought diaries from a local stationers that gave him a page a day to play with. These number 26 volumes, several of which are colourfully and beautifully illustrated. So fascinating. And I'm responding live to all of this. Why he kept a diary is unclear. Diarists come in all shapes and their reasons for recording their lives are similarly diverse. Some people want to bear witness to earth-shattering events, while others are content to detail what appears to be trivia, but which, with the passage of time, acquires enduring significance. What follows is an edited account of the nearly 11 years defined by Rickman's role as Professor Severus Snape in the Harry Potter films. From Alan Taylor, editor of the diaries. This is from The Guardian, by the way. That's what I'm reading it from. So here's some accounts from Alan Rickman of his 11 years of playing Snape. Year 2000, so that's before the first movie came out, which the first movie was December 2001, I believe. 23rd of August, I called LA and said okay to HP, Harry Potter. 24th of August, Around the pool and feeling a bit nothing about HP. That's interesting, which really disturbs me. Or is it because I'm reading Martin Amos's experience, which charts a lot? That seems irrelevant. 6th of September. A day by the pool, talking to Judy Hoffland, his manager. The bargaining goes on for Harry Potter. Okay. 10th of September. Perfect day, still sunny, to the pool. Finish reading Harry Potter 1, start 2. Oh, so he's reading the books. 21st of September. Harry Potter takes off. Carter costume fitting discussion. Measurements from hell after a month in Italy. Waltz around each other, higher collar, blue fabric, thinner arms, and off to Leavesden Studios. Chris Columbus, director. David Heyman, producer. Makeup department waiting. Wig, nose. 6th of October. First conversation with Joanne Rowling. Her sister answers. She's not here. Can I leave a message? There is a cackling sound in the background. Sorry about that. I tell her, there are things that only Snape and you know. I need to know. You're right, she replies. Call me tomorrow. No one else knows these things. 7th of October. Talk to Joanne Rowling again, and she nervously lets me in on a few glimpses of Snape's background. Talking to her is talking to someone who lives these stories, not invents them. She's a channel bubbling over with, well, when he was young, you see this, that, and the other happened. Interesting. 11th of December, back to Harry Potter. The Great Hall with Maggie Smith, that's McGonagall, Zoe Wanamaker. Who's Zoe Wanamaker? Oh, she looks like, she's Madam Hooch. Ian Hart, Richard Harris, all in their way sweet, funny souls. But this is tick off the shots filming. No big speech about the scene and what we're all thinking. Maybe there isn't time. Maybe too many people involved in the decisions. A hat has been made for Snape. A hat for Snape. Fortunately, Chris Columbus is also a sweet, funny soul, and you kind of guess what he's thinking, what he wants. Certainly, if you step outside, that he's in sharpish, so it gets done, and it all looks just fine. 19th of February 2001, last day on Harry Potter. At the end of the day, Hedwig the Owl flies the length of the Great Hall and drops the Nimbus 2000 in Harry's lap. Dave, the trainer, hadn't slept, worrying about it all. Simple, amazing things. 23rd of October, David Heyman calls to tell me how brilliant I am in Harry Potter. At home, faxes about the press junket, which is huge and impossible. The David Heyman phone call was, of course, a coincidence. 4th of November. The film should only be seen... Harry Potter premiere. The film should only be seen on a big screen. It acquires a scale and depth that matches the hideous score by John Williams. Interesting that he uses the word hideous, but I think I think it's like a British irony, like the hideous score, like it's hideously good. Party afterwards at the Savoy is much more fun. 14th of January 2002, Harry Potter 2. 6:50 a.m. pickup. Nice to see them all again, but it's a dreamlike thing, as if it has never stopped, and in a way it hasn't and won't. Richard Harris is enveloped in flu, a cue for Maggie Smith to encase her face in a scarf. Mind-blowing exhaustion by the end of the day. 2nd of April, 7:15 pickup, up in the Quidditch Tower with Miriam Margoyles, that's Professor Sprout, and Jason Isaacs, who has just become a dad for the first time. The usual nodding, heads at numbers scene, but quicker this time, and we're out by lunchtime. Interesting. I guess it's like he's talking about like the usual nodding heads at numbers scene, like scenes where Snape would have been there but didn't have any lines, but he just sort of had to be, in the scene. This next one is pretty interesting, and I'm trying to decode it, but 4th of December, talking to agent Paul Lyon Maris about HP exit, which he thinks will happen. But here we are in the Project Collision area again, reiterating no more Harry Potter. They don't want to hear it. Wondering if HP exit means he was thinking of leaving Harry Potter, because I guess in Chamber of Secrets, even though it was successful, it definitely, even the books weren't finished, so that they didn't know, one, Snape's sort of twist ending, but two, like maybe he just thought, this is just some dumb kids movie series. I'm not going to do this for another, 7-8 years, but yeah, never really know. It's really fascinating insight. Here we go though. 2003, 14th of April. Harry Potter 3, 7 a.m. pickup. Top table stuff with David Thewlis, that's Professor Lupin, Michael Gambon, the new Dumbledore, Maggie Smith, Warwick Davis, Professor Flitwick. More of the same really, but what else can you do except get the shots? A choir, 300 children, one speech, people reading in the background. 2nd of May, 8:40 a.m. pickup. Corridor with Dan Radcliffe. He's so concentrated now, serious and focused, but with a sense of fun. I still don't think he's really an actor, but he will undoubtedly direct, produce, and he has such a quiet, dignified support from his parents. Nothing is pushed. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting insight on Daniel Radcliffe there. 30th of July, 7 a.m. pickup, Snape, Lupin, classroom. The day got off to a fabulous start with the screen guillotining onto my head, a sudden swift blackout followed by day-long melancholy. Such fantastic writing. Alfonso Cuarón, the director, was quietly ballistic with me. I love him too much to let it last too long, so I wailed off set and we sorted it out. Okay, so maybe he was having disagreements with Alfonso. He's under the usual HP pressure, and he even starts rehearsing cameras before actors. And these kids need directing. They don't know their lines, and Emma Watson's diction in this is this side of Albania at times. Plus, my so-called rehearsal is with a stand-in who is French. I don't know what in this side of Albania means, but interesting. Like, it sounds like he had a jilted experience working on the sets, which is a bit damning, but and he wrote it all down as well. On to 2004. 4 p.m, Harry Potter 3 world premiere. Arriving at Radio City was like being a Beatle. Thousands of fans screamed as we got out of cars, mostly for Daniel Radcliffe, but a rush for everyone, not to mention walking out onto the stage to 6,000. Alfonso has done an extraordinary job. It is a very grown-up movie, so full of daring that it made me smile and smile. Every frame of it is the work of an artist and storyteller, stunning effects that are somehow part of the life of the film, not show-off stunts. Later back to the hotel with Ariel Dorfman, who takes egomania to utterly charming delights. He just loves being him. Now, who's Ariel Dorfman? Is he one of the actors in Harry Potter? Or is he... No, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, no idea who that is. 28th of September, Harry Potter 4, 7:55 a.m. pickup, smacking the backs of Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint's heads. Doubtless a fuss will ensue about corporal punishment. I do remember that scene in Goblet of Fire when Harry and Ron are talking and Snape just smacks him in the back of the head. 11th of November, 7:15 a.m. pickup in Dumbledore's office with Maggie. My speech is unlearnable, so some serious laughing goes on. Plus Maggie's stories of the ladies in Lavender premiere. Miriam Margoyles look like a Sherman tank in sequins. 13th of December, Harry Potter Last Day, 7 a.m. pickup. Last scene with Pedja, actor Predrag Bejulak, who I think played Igor Kakar. What's his name? Igor Karkaroff. I always, whenever I hear Karkaroff, I think of Kakarot, which is what Goku from Dragon Ball Z's real name is. Anyway, moving on. Who I rudely described as like working with a sideboard on wheels. Nothing to do with him as a complex, delightful person, but more to do with the way he manages to bang into you at any opportunity. I feel so shafted on this film with all of Mike, which is Mike Newell, the director of 4, best motives. He's under pressure, like Alfonso, and everything is about the shot. We only talk about the scene on about take 4. Okay, so again, he felt shafted in Goblet of Fire. Again, Snape wasn't really a big character in that one either. We then go to 2006, 30th of January. Finally, yes to Harry Potter 5. The sensation is neither up nor down. The argument that wins is the one that says, see it through, it's your story. So it does seem like, I mean, you never really think about this because he did such an amazing job at it, but it does seem like his interest in playing this character was waning a bit over the years. 12th of April, 6:45 a.m. pickup. I realize as soon as Snape's ring and costume go on, something happens. It becomes alien to be chatty, smiley, and open. Wow, he's talking about like getting into the character. So as soon as he goes into the Snape costume, he feels like he shouldn't be chatty, smiley, and open. The character narrows me down, tightens me up. Not good qualities on a film set. I've never been less communicative with a crew. Fortunately, Dan Radcliffe fills that role with ease and charm. 20th of July, 2007, publication day of the last Harry Potter. Interesting. 11:15 p.m, Tunbridge Wells and Waterstones. I had guessed at 20 or 30 people waiting for midnight, probably 300 or 400, and a queue moving slowly. So he underestimated the scope of the books, I think. 1 hour in the queue and it was time for action. Went to the friendly security man. Have you read the books? No. Have you seen the films? One of them. I'm in them. Oh yes, there will be mayhem if I go into the queue. I'll get the manager. Manager arrives. Oh, hello. 27th of July. I have finished reading the last Harry Potter book. Snape dies heroically. Potter describes him to his children as one of the bravest men he ever knew and calls his son Albus Severus. This was a genuine rite of passage. One small piece of information from Joe Rowling 7 years ago. Snape loved Lily, gave me a cliff edge to hang on to. And it is known already that, yes, early on in the movies, J.K. Rowling did tell Alan Rickman the twist of the story, that Snape was in love with Lily, and he knew that. And that's sort of why I guess that's why he was so tantalizing in the role, because he was the only person aside from J.K. Rowling who knew the final twist. Fascinating. 2008. Harry Potter 6, 4th of February. Harry Potter 6, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, day 1. Thank God I could do the coat up without visible strain at the seams. I think he's maybe talking about how as he's getting older, he might be gaining weight a bit. 7th of February, 8:15 a.m. pickup. Car park, paparazzi. Freezing cloister of Gloucester Cathedral. A whole new working relationship, this time with Tom Felton playing Draco Malfoy. The story of this so far 6-part epic is 1 minute. There were all these little kids. Now, so he's pondering on time passing. This is fascinating. Found Maggie in her trailer vulnerable and fuck it all at once. Interesting. 10th of March. The line "take out your wand" reduces Helena Bonham Carter, Bellatrix, to helpless mirth and will be a bit of Waterloo come Thursday. Helen McCrory, that's Narcissa, says she's terrified but fits like a glove with the mayhem. 29th of December. 1 p.m. lunch with Dan Radcliffe at Cafe Cluny. 1 minute he was 12, now he's 19. When did that happen? And he's sensitive, articulate and smart, and owns a 3-bedroom apartment in New York. Oh, so lucky and awesome. 2009, 2nd of July. Somewhere in here, finally the deal is done for Harry Potter 7, parts 1 and 2, and people are all carefully left in possession of genitalia. Don't get that. 9th of July, Harry Potter 6, New York. Party at the Natural History Museum. The desire to eat and even more get a drink is matched only by the need to bang the 3 David's heads. Harry Potter produces David Heyman and David Barron and director David Yates against the nearest wall. I get the character development and the spiffing effects, but where is the story? Interesting again. Really critical of the direction David Yates was taking it. Harry Potter 7, 25th of November. Cold, wet, drafty, but the crew seems mile away. So Ralph is Voldemort, Rafe rather, can just get on with inching our way towards the scene. David Yates stubborn as ever about Voldemort killing me with a spell. Impossible to comprehend, not at the least resultant wrath of the readers, right? Okay, so David Yates wanted Voldemort to kill Snape with a spell, but as we know, it was Nagini that killed Snape. Great working with Ralph, though. Direct and true and inventive and free. Back home, and Rima says, I think that's his wife, he can't kill you with a spell. The only one that would be able to do that is Avada Kedavra, and it kills instantly. You wouldn't be able to finish the scene. So again, he was really, passionate about keeping the books keeping as authentic to the books as possible. But David Yates really wanted him to killed Snape with a spell, which doesn't make sense. 26th of November, the death of Snape. Nearly 10 years later, at least it's just down to 2 actors. David is vulnerable and endearing when he's excited, and he is by this scene. It's the absolute example of what can happen when a couple of actors pick up a scene off the page and work with the story, the space, and each other. Stuart Craig's boathouse set gave it something ironic and everlasting. As I said at one point to David, it's all a bit epic and Japanese. 14th of January 2010, Harry Potter. After a night of not sleeping at all, scene 305, or the last breath of Severus Snape. Here I am with Dan, Emma, and Rupert. 10 years on, Emma is here on a break from Brown University. Blood is all over my throat from an imagined Nagini, Voldemort's pet snake. The 3 of them still with furrowed brows and panting a bit. Finding it hard to remember any particular scenes over the years, mainly because all the decisions are taken in committee rooms and not on the floor. We listen as David Yates, director, tells us what we are thinking and why, and in some cases recounts the story, and a small piece of something creative caves in. 8th of March. To Harry Potter rehearsal with Michael Gambon. On the way back to the trailer, Michael talks of his fear of learning/forgetting his lines, and then he tells me he's doing Crap's last tape. Don't know what that is. 10th of March, just me and Michael Gambon. All day. He's vulnerable after his illness, and yesterday's primer was no joke for him. The lines are a real problem for him. Technology helps, and why not? It's never great when it's just a memory loss. No relaxation, no freedom, no contact. I'd have boards and auto cue everywhere. And anyway, when he unleashes a bit of magnificence, it's effortless and spellbinding. 29th of March, last day on Harry Potter, 6:15 a.m. pickup. All a bit hard to believe. I think even Daniel was shocked by the finality. Cameras were everywhere, it seemed, docu-ones. I am asked, so how does it feel? Before you felt it, before the feeling has a name. It's private, I managed, and I'm not sharing it with that, pointing at his lens. Something is in those cans, and it is finished. Thanks, Joe. 7th of August, car to Leavesden for the Harry Potter wrap party. Almost every expense spared, at least in the food department. At 2:30 p.m, little was left anyway. 7th of July, Harry Potter 7 Part 2. It all ends. To Trafalgar Square, which takes an hour. Once there, red carpets everywhere. A screen, a platform, an interviewer, and thousands screaming and singing Snape, Snape, Severus, Snape. That's funny. The carpet snakes into Leicester Square for the film at 8 p.m. I found it unsettling to watch. It has to change horses midstream to tell the Snape story, and the camera loses concentration. The audience, however, very happy. Okay, so just as a plug, this is an edited extract from Madly Deeply, the Alan Rickman Diaries, published by Canongate on the 4th of October. There you go, so you can pick the book up and find out more. Look, I just thought I'd read that. I skipped over a lot. I just sort of looked for highlight points that mention Harry Potter, but very interesting takes from that. Predominantly that Alan Rickman seemed to, one, waver a lot, especially in the early days, about continuing to play the role of Snape. He speaks really highly, particularly of Maggie Smith, Michael Gambon, and Daniel Radcliffe, and acting alongside them, as well as in Half-Blood Prince, where he had much more to do with Tom Felton, and he speaks about that. And as well as that, obviously his knowledge of what happened at the end of the series, the only person who knew that Snape loved Lily from J.K. Rowling, and disagreeing a lot with David Yates, who directed the last 4 films, which again is really interesting. I find it fascinating that he wanted to kill Voldemort to kill Snape with a spell, because exactly, like, that's not what happened in the books. I'm glad they didn't go down that route. That scene in the movies where Snape dies and gives the memories to Harry through his tears is so iconic and so incredible. So I'm glad it ended up the way it was. Anyway, just thought I'd read some of that. I hope you found it interesting. Send me any thoughts you have about it. And I'll see you in the next episode or the next outpost. Thanks so much, guys. Bye. This podcast was a Radio Mike original production. Head to radiomike.com.au to check out all our other content, stay up to date at radio.mike on Instagram, and get in touch, radiomikepod@gmail.com.